All right. Thank you also, Francis. So today is Tuesday, the 11th of March, 2025. We're having our pre-New York session analysis, and I'm your host. Good afternoon, Madam Onaji. Rotimi Olawale is my name, and your host on this analysis session. By 3 p.m. today, we're having a job opening in the United States, and it's a high impact event. That's why you can see the color is in red. Let's quickly look at the details of this event. Now, this data will be released from the source of this data, rather, is the Bureau of Labor Statistics. Here we call it Ministry of Labor. Over there, call it Bureau of Labor Statistics. That's the department that is releasing this data. And this news measures the number of job openings during the reported month, excluding the farming industry. From the word job openings, here the word we use regularly for that is the word vacancy. Now, before you can have employment, there will first be a vacancy. A vacancy means that a company is indicating that maybe they are short-staffed and they need people to apply for employment. So here we're saying that this data measures the number of job openings during the reported month, excluding the farming industry, and actual greater than forecast is good for the currency. So like I said, before actually getting a job, there will have to be a job opening. So imagine a scenario where 100,000 opening, is available in a month. Even if it's 10, 20, 30,000 people that fills it, the opening comes first before the actual employment. So if the actual is greater than the forecast, then that's good for the economy. So if there's a forecasted figure and the actual comes out greater than that forecast, that really will be good for the economy. So that's just a summary of what this news is all about. So we'll go back to just a second. Okay, can you still see my forest factory page? Please, I need a response. Can you still see my forest factory page? Okay, I think the screen just got toggled. So I'll flip over now to the charts and we'll look at what to expect from the technical angle for this news event. So this news is purely a USD news, so it's based on the dollar. Actual greater than forecast is good for the currency, and actual less than forecast will be bad for the currency. So what's our projection? What direction are we projecting the market to move, before the data is released? For me, I hold a bullish outlook on this data, and this is my reason. One is that price is trading around a support zone. Now, at support zone, we're not looking at buying, we're looking at an opportunity to sell. Why? Because support means that price is oversold. It has sold so much that it will no longer sell, and buyers will rather be trying to push the price up into the buyer's direction, into the buyer's zone. That's why you can see since last Friday when we had the NFP, price had been at that support zone. And yesterday, we could see some bullish movement. And secondly, today, it's also already trying to go in a bullish direction. So if the actual comes out greater than forecast, then that means that this data will now become, the technical will line up with the fundamental, and we'll see a bigger bullish movement on this particular instrument. So I hold a bullish outlook on this news ahead of the release of the data. So by 3 p.m., if the actual comes out greater than forecast, you can safely take a buy trade on USD CHF for this particular news event. If the actual comes out less than forecast, I would rather advise you stay out of the market, in that particular condition. All right, so that's my view for the news. But aside the news, there is another currency pair I've been putting my eyes on from the beginning of today, and that's on the AUD CAD. And this is purely technical. It has nothing to do with the news. Anytime the breakout happens, you are free to take the trade. Now for AUD CAD, we can clearly see that price closed as a rejection candle yesterday on the daily time frame. That's a rejection candle at a resistance zone. And not only that, rejection candle resistance zone, and price is touching the higher high part of this trend line on the upper side. You can see price has done a series of higher high higher low, higher high, higher low, another higher high. So this particular region here is a confluence zone. Price is reacting to three events: a resistance zone, a rejection candle, and the trend line. Both of them at that point indicating that market may go potentially in a bearish direction. That's from the daily time frame. And if we switch over to the 4-hour, there's nothing much on the 4-hour, but the clarity is more on the 1-hour. Now, on the 1-hour, we can clearly see the formation. We can see the formation of a head and shoulder pattern, shoulder, head, and a second shoulder. Now, this zone here is the neckline. The moment a new candle breaks out below this support zone, which is the neckline, we will see price target the next support zone, below it. So I hold a bearish outlook on the AUD card, and we will be targeting about 25, to 30 pips, movement in price on this if price ever breaks out below that support zone. So just put your attention this afternoon session on this zone. If a new candle opens below this recent low, trigger a sell on the AUD card. I'll also be checking it on my end, so when it happens, you will get a signal in the funded client group. So if you are not in the funded client group, well, sorry, you may miss this opportunity to trade this particular signal. You can go ahead to fund your account right now, reach out to your account manager so that when the signal drops, you can have it in your funded group. And depending on the volatility, if the volatility is really strong, the market may break that support zone. It's just a 1-hour support and target the next one. So we may end up having a signal with two take profit levels, one at the first zone here at about 25 pips, and the second one at about around 65 pips down. So 25, 65, that's a combination of about 80 to 90 pips there, all things being equal. So I hold a bearish outlook on the AUD card. And the reason why the card is, really trending at this point is because of the ongoing trade war between the United States and Canada. When Donald Trump became president, he had imposed tariff on Canada, and Canada is retaliating back by also imposing their own tariff on the United States. So that trade war is bringing a lot of volatility, across the Canadian dollar pairs. All right, that'll be all from my analysis this afternoon. If you have a question, you can just go ahead and post it, and I'll respond as we try to round up. GBP AUD. NAS 100, BTC gold. All right, so I'll just take this for, I won't take beyond that. GBP AUD, BTC gold, and NAS 100. Now for the GBP pairs, many of them have been bullish, very, very strongly bullish in the last couple of days. We've been expecting a reversal. So we will still patiently anticipate that reversal to come up. You can see on the weekly time frame, price is already in a resistance zone. You can see a rising wedge pattern there. So we can't do anything yet until the market is willing to reverse. You can see it's already still trending higher. But all I know is that within that zone, eventually, price is expected to reverse. For now, reversal is yet to be in sight. Reversal is yet to be in sight. So when reversal happens, we will definitely know. Currently, what I'm seeing, there's not even a clear one though, but we can still take it as a kind of a rising wedge. We can only look for an opportunity to sell if price breaks out below this rising wedge. Then price may target that support zone. But until then, I will advise you to stay clear of the GBP AUD. All right, another person asking about BTC USD and gold. Okay, gold is closer, so we'll look at gold. Now, the long-term direction of gold is still bullish in the long term, but before that time, currently gold is trading, is in a range. It's in a range around this box. And until it breaks out before we can have a clarity as to the next move. But I strongly believe gold is forming an inverse head and shoulder here. And if it breaks out above 2926.34, then it will release to go higher. But before that time, trade gold with a lot of caution. Don't forget that there's going to be news, jolt job opening from US by 3 p.m. today. If the data from the news comes out good for the dollar, gold will drop within this zone. Now, it may drop and now form possibly a double bottom pattern, which can, help it break out further. But before then, gold is ranging. Gold is in the range. So trade gold with a lot of caution. BTC USD. All right, so we'll do the top-down analysis for BTC USD. Okay, so a couple of weeks back, a double top was formed on the daily time frame on BTC, and I said if price breaks the neckline, we see some bearish movement, and that's already happened. So price is actually trading around Fibonacci 50 level, which is a reversal, a retracement or reversal point. That's why you can see this reaction. So it's reacting at the Fibonacci levels. So technically, we'll be looking for an opportunity to buy BTC. So let's zoom down to 4-hour. The setup is actually not too clear on the 4-hour, even though the trend is bullish, but you don't just enter because the trend is bullish. You want to see clear entries as in the overall trend. So you want to see what is happening on the lower time frame. All right, so this is my view for BTC. If the market closes in the next 4-hour with this same pattern, it's already broken out of the rising wedge. But for a much more comfortable or a bullish trend, I will be comfortable with. I would rather prefer to see a retracement, which will see to price retesting this trend line, then a breakout from that point upwards. I would first like to see a retracement, then a continuation. And that, for me, that will be a better way to buy BTC. Don't enter a buy yet, except you are aggressive and you know how to manage it, except that. But if you're a conservative trader, would take this region as a resistance zone, wait for a retest and a breakout before you take a buy on BTC. And at that point, we'll have also safely formed an inverse head and shoulder, which will ensure that price goes up higher. So that's my view on the BTC USD. And finally, I'll look at NAS 100. All right, NAS 100 also price formed a double top on the daily time frame, and there's been a massive, very, very massive drop there. So let's use our Fibonacci to know what's also happening. So price hit Fibonacci 61.8, which is a reversal point, and that's why you're seeing the reaction. So we should be looking for an opportunity to buy NAS 100. That's the daily time frame, 4-hour and 1 hour. Now the 1 hour, let's go down to 15 minutes for clarity. Well, either 1 hour or 15 minutes is actually forming an inverse head and shoulder, though instead of breaking out, it's retraced a little here, but that shouldn't still stop the eventual breakout. All right, so what we'll do now is I will wait for a breakout of price above this current resistance zone. And if price breaks out above this zone, when I use the word breakout, I mean a new candle forming above this resistance zone. Then you can target Fibonacci 50 up there. At least price is expected to get to that level. More so, we have a support which is turning the resistance level there. So there could be reaction. Price may hit that level and retrace downwards or break out upwards. But those other move is not really our concern. Our main concern is entering above this level and targeting the Fibonacci 50 as the take profit level. And Fibonacci 50 price level is 19739.06. So I'm bullish on BTC, sorry, NAS 100. All right, I think that should be all from my analysis this afternoon. Okay, Madam Monaji, CAD JPY, I can tell you that one is bullish, though more on the 4-hour. Yeah, this is CAD JPY on the 4-hour, and you can see it's bullish. Though that doesn't mean it's time to trigger a buy. I'm just giving you the overall trend. And how did I come about this trend? If you go on the daily time frame, you can see that price hit a support zone right there on the daily. Even on the weekly, you can see a previous support turned. Yeah, just support, no support on anything. We have a previous support zone here, and price closed on that same support zone. Let's check. About even yesterday. So today price is already beginning to reverse. Let's check the 1-hour. This is actually a swing setup. It's more comfortable to trade it as a swing. So you can see we have a support zone and a falling wedge pattern. So we're only looking to trade when price breaks out above the upper trend line. And at that instance, your RSI should be clearly above 50 for you to comfortably trigger a buy. Now, it may not break out straight. It may sell, do some zigzag before the breakout happens. So that's why I said it's not something you want to trade on 1 hour. It's better you wait for the 4-hour. But if it breaks out on the 4-hour, then the trade will move, at least considerable number of pips. So I'm bullish on the CAD JPY. I think I have to end the age. The euro USD will be dependent on the dollar. The direction of the dollar from the news will determine the euro USD. And US 30 mostly moves in line with this one. All right, so that'll be all from the analysis this afternoon. Please trade safe. And don't forget, tomorrow we have CPI. CPI is coming out with live trading tomorrow. Now, the time has changed. The daylight savings setting has changed. Earlier on, our live trading session starts by 2:15 p.m. That's for the analysis, while the main news will take up by 2:30. But it's changing now because globally, in the financial market, the daylight saving has changed over the weekend. So it's now going to be 1:15 p.m. tomorrow for analysis for the CPI, and 1:30 the data will be released. Please take note of this time so that you can align your schedule accordingly. All right, so we'll come your way some other time. Bye for now.